Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for coming today. I'm really delighted to be here and hope you enjoyed the event so far. I'm Kateryna, and I want to talk to you about data analysis using Elasticsearch this evening. I picked the topic unconscious biases in the organization because I believe that it's an important topic that all companies should monitor and take into account while making decisions on their organization future development. A couple of things related to this talk before I start. I've been thinking a lot what would be the best way to introduce Elasticsearch and its capability to someone. And a short demo felt like the right way to go. So demo it is. And what important to keep in mind during this demo that we will be using a relatively small, publicly available test data set, and it has its limitations. For example, it does not contain non-binary genders. Our goal for today is to understand how to gain insights on the data and not to analyze any particular company. So let me briefly introduce myself. As mentioned earlier, I'm Kateryna. I'm a software engineer with over 8 years of experience working on full stack and data engineering topics in various organizations. I'm working as an IT consultant, providing software solutions and consultancy to clients, and I'm currently part of the data engineering team at Kreuzwerker in Berlin. Having said that, let me briefly introduce you into Elastic, what it does and how it can help us. For those of you who are already familiar with Elastic, please bear with me. This is for the benefit of those who are not familiar with it at all. So, sorry. Elasticsearch is just a set of products with Elasticsearch at its heart. Elasticsearch is a search and analytics engine, which also plays the role of data storage here. Beats and Logstash take care of data collection and transformation. And on top of Elasticsearch, we have a powerful visualization layer and user interface provided by Kibana. So let's imagine you get approached by HR department and asked to help them to gain insight into current organizational state in terms of diversity. They are also worried that as a company that is growing so fast, they might lose track of fair pay across the departments. And they want to make sure that there is no hidden bias when it comes to performance ratings. Let's now have a look at how we can use Elasticsearch to help us answer these questions. HR department provided us with a CSV file that contains employees' data. Let's first import this file into Elasticsearch and have a deeper look at its content. We will use Logstash for that, and to tell Logstash how to perform import operation, we need to provide a configuration file. So let's now have a look how this configuration would look like. Logstash configuration includes 3 sections. An input section is where you define necessary information related to your input source. An output section is where you put the configuration related to a final destination of the processed data. And filter section is where you define all transformations you want to be applied to your input data. Here in the input section, file indicates that we will be using file that is found on a given path as our input source. Other settings are not really important here. Here, Elasticsearch at the output section indicates that we want our result to be published to the Elasticsearch, which is running on localhost, and to be stored into index called raw data. And here in a filter section, for now, we are only asking Logstash to use a header from the CSV file to auto-detect names of data fields. So let me now go to terminal and trigger an import. What we need to do is just simply tell Logstash which configuration to use. And what is happening now is that Logstash will start streaming line by line that input file which was provided and publish it to Elasticsearch. All right. Now we can go to Kibana and have a look at the content of the file we were provided with. As mentioned earlier, Kibana is a visualization tool provided by Elasticsearch. Here you can explore your data. And the easiest way to gain insights to your data is to use Discover feature. So we will go there. Here on the left side, you can select a data source you want to use. And now we can explore a content of CSV file we were provided by HR and imported via Logstash. By default, we see here a table with all documents and fields available inside. So let's first check what type of information we have available for our future analysis. As you can see, we have employees' name, date of hire, department they belong to. We have the gender and marital status information. We also have a manager these employees report to, performance score, their position, salary, and race. That's already something we can work with. So you can modify this table to display only the fields of your interest by using a filters on the left side. Let's say we are interested in employee's name, department they belong to, and date of hire. What you can also do, you can filter by a particular value, simply using filters here, or you can as well use a full text search at the top instead of filters. Let's say production. Enter. All right. By default, all fields values were imported as strings. And if you want, for example, to create a histogram based on date of hire, we wouldn't be able to create time series using text field. To fix that, we can go back and adjust our Logstash configuration and tell explicitly what data types the fields should be imported as. To save the time, I have an adjusted configuration already prepared, so let's go through it. Logstash has different data transformation capabilities. For example, here we are using a date filter to instruct Logstash to convert date of hire, which is represented as a string in a following format, to date type. We apply this filter to date of hire, date of termination, last performance review date, date of birthday, and that's it. We use mutate filter to convert salary into integer here. And we can also use a Ruby filter to do a bit more complex calculations. For example, if we want to add additional field which can be derived from the existing one, let's say we want for example, we can calculate age using date of birthday, or if you are interested in years of work, it can be derived from date of hire. And we can as well remove unnecessary fields or, for example, sensitive data using mutate filter. Let's now go back to terminal and trigger an import again. So our changes to data types are applied. We just need to use a different configuration here. And now that we have a data ready in Elasticsearch, we can use Kibana's visualization capabilities to answer some of the questions asked by HR. So let's go back to Kibana. All right. I would suggest we start from analysis of overall diversity profile of the organization. We can create a small dashboard for that and fill it in with visualizations we are interested in. For start, it would be interesting to have a look into ethnic background distribution in the company. Let's create a visualization using a lens feature that was recently added to Kibana and is quite easy to use. So here on the left side, you can again select a data source you want to use. This time we're using formatted data. In this dropdown, you can see various options for the chart. We will use a pie chart for this. And here on the left, now you can search for a field of your interest and simply drag and drop it here. Here you go. Now we have an overview of percentage of people with different ethnic backgrounds in the company. Let's save this to our dashboard. Next thing I would suggest we look into is gender distribution across departments. We can create a visualization for that as well. This time we will use a bar chart, and here on the right side, you can either drag and drop again or select a field you want to be displayed on horizontal axis. So we are interested in department. And let's adjust a number so we have all departments available displayed. And we want to look into a number of employees, so we select simply count. And we wanted to have a look into gender distribution, so we drop this chart by gender. Here you go. Now we have green bars representing an amount of female employees working in different departments, and blue one is representing a number of male employees here. Also at the top, you can enable additional labels for better visualization. So what we can see here, for example, that in a production department, we have significantly more female employees than male. And also in admin offices, we have twice more women working than men. All right, let's save it to our dashboard as well. What we can look into next is hiring in regards to gender and ethnic background. So let's look first into new hires by gender over years. And we can use an area percentage chart for that. Now we want to have a time series based on date of hire. So we select the date of hire here. And let's customize our time interval to be 90 days. And we are interested in gender distribution. So we select gender here and group by this field. Here you go. So what we can see that initially we were hiring exclusively male employees. Subsequently, focus was turned into female employees, and afterwards we had some balance in new hires for both genders. Let's save this chart as well. And we can easily now have the same view on new hires over the years by race, by simply copying this panel and adjusting a bit. So let's do so. Clone panel, edit, and we're now interested in a race field here. And we want more values included. So here you go. All right. Let's move now to salary analysis across the organization. I suggest we first have a look at median of total compensation across positions by gender. We can use a horizontal bar chart for this. And we are interested in positions on the left side. Let's again adjust the number of values to be displayed. So we have all positions on this view. And we want to have a salary median. And we use median to eliminate potential outliers. And we wanted this view by gender. So let's break by gender, save it, and let's make it bigger and have a closer look. What do we have here? All right. As we can see, salary varied by position. So on some positions, we have female employees paid slightly higher than male. On other positions, we have male employees paid slightly higher than female. But although there is no significant differences in most cases, but one, network engineer, here we can see a significant difference in pay. What we can see as well from this chart is that, for example, on some positions, we have exclusively male or female employees working. And that also might be something interesting to look into for our HR. Let's look now into how many male and female employees we have on the network engineer position and the salary distribution in relation to performance ratings. We will use a slightly different visualization for that because it provides us a bit of more flexibility. In this drop-down, you can see some other options, and we are interested in aggregation-based visualization, and we want to have a vertical bar. And here we again offer to select a data source. So what we want now is salary histogram. So let's create a salary histogram first. And we can adjust the interval. All right, and we were interested in particularly in a position of network engineer, so we can use a filter at the top to select this position. Oh, sorry, network engineer. Here you go. As you can see, we don't have many people working on this position, but it's still something worth looking into. And we were interested in number of employees and their salaries in relation to performance ratings. So let's split this chart by performance ratings first. Right. And we want to know gender. So let's add gender here. All right. If you look into a group of employees that fully meet performance expectations, we can clearly see that our female employees are paid less than male employees on this position. And that is something where our HR department should look into, and there might be a justification for why these employees, regardless of their good performance, haven't gotten a pay raise yet. So let's save this view as well. Now I suggest we'll analyze salary distribution based on performance for all available positions. So we will use again a aggregation-based visualization with a vertical bar, and we need salary histogram. Let's adjust interval again. All right. Now we split this chart by performance ratings again. And we wanted to look into distribution across different positions. So let's add positions here. All right. What we can see here is the number of employees in different performance rating groups and on different positions and to which salary range they fall. What is clearly visible on this chart is that for some positions, for example, production technician, we have a lot of people put on a performance improvement plan, so PIP here, and people that need performance improvement in general paid on the same level as people that exceed performance expectations. So let's again have a deeper look into this particular position and check to see if it has anything to do with the managers these employees report to. First, save this chart. And to have this view, we can actually reuse this. We can use the same chart and just adjust it a bit. So let's copy it, edit, and first filter by position of interest. That was production technician. Here you go. And what we want to look into now is we want to group these people by manager. And we want to look into their performance. Here you go. So here at the bottom, this numbers 11, 12, 14, those are just identifiers for different managers. And what is obvious, for example, that manager number 12 has a salary distribution inconsistent with their performance of their employees. We have some people that exceed performance expectations paid on the same level as people put on performance improvement plan. This view could be helpful for our HR to follow up with this manager in question and verify if there is any personal bias present here or a reasonable explanation for such a salary distribution in their team. Let's save it as well to our dashboard. Yeah, now we can share this dashboard with our HR department and get their feedback. So you can use a share option also provided by Elasticstack. And this was just a few samples of what you can do with Elastic. There are much more features available, and I hope you got some inspiration and took some helpful tips away from today's presentation. So thank you for listening, and I see you in Q&A session. If you have any questions, would be happy to answer those.